Hello and welcome for the love of food. Today, let's make some candied bacon, also called pig candy. Okay, I know that's a southern thing. What we need is all the ingredients right in front of us. Here is cayenne pepper, cinnamon, black pepper, brown sugar, and some thick cut bacon. Now, the most important part of making this is setting up your pan properly. So what we're going to do is we're going to show you what we've done. We put our parchment paper first. Then what we do is we put a line of tin foil over the top of that. And we place a cooling rack. It doesn't have to be in the tall position. It can be in the short position right on top. So you see what we've got going on here. All right. Next up, we're going to get our ingredients mixed in here, and we're going to coat our bacon strips. Now, if you're making a full pound, you're going to go ahead and set up a second rack. But there's no need for me to do that today. I'm only going to make a half pound. I probably should have cut my mixture in half, but that's okay. We're not going to worry about that. We're just going to incorporate all of our ingredients right together. We're going to mix them all in, and then we're going to coat our bacon. I'm not even using a second bowl. Look at that. One less dish for my husband to have to clean it up. All right, since I'm going to be putting my hands in it anyway, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to mix with my hands. Makes it a lot easier. Just taking out the lumps in the sugar, making sure that it's all mixed in quite well. All right, now we're going to take our bacon strips and we're going to coat them. Don't worry about if you're missing some spots. Later on, we can add more at another part of the process when we go to take them out of the oven and flip them. Now, I said when you take them out of the oven to flip them, do not try to flip these in the oven. It makes way too much of a mess. You run the risk of spilling grease everywhere. Not worth it. You get all the spice mix in the oven. Believe me, I've made all the mistakes so you don't have to. See how nicely these are coating up? Bring some more of that coating down for these last few pieces. Now, let me talk about why you don't want to make some of these. These are fantastic in a Bloody Mary or just to eat on their own. So we're going to be having a get-together next weekend, and I plan to set up a Bloody Mary bar. So that's why I want to make some of these this week, and we can freeze them. You know I'm a big fan of freezing. So we're going to make them ahead, get them good and crispy, and then freeze them so that we'll have them for the Bloody Mary bar. Always when you're entertaining, the idea is you want to do things as much ahead of time as possible so you don't have all that stress. All right, so those are coated to my liking. Let's get them placed onto our pan. By the way, if you aren't doing these for a Bloody Mary, you could also do these so that they are shorter. And you could do them in little bites or pieces. We've done that. One Halloween, we did these bourbon bacon jello shots that were fantastic. And we had a little piece of this candied bacon inside the jello shot. And everybody was really excited about that. All right, so we're going to get these in. Look at that. I think I'm going to have just enough room. So this was a half of my pound of thick cut bacon. I want to give them a little room to breathe. They are going to shrink, so I don't have to worry about it too much, but I do want some air to get through because I want them to crisp. Now we're going to put these into an oven at 350 degrees for 10 minutes, and then we're going to check them and see how they look. We'll be back. All right, our timer has just gone off. This is where we are at the 10-minute mark. I'm going to go ahead and pull them out and then flip them over. All right, so I've got my pot holder out so that it will remind me not to touch the pan. And why didn't I let them brown up a little bit more, you might be thinking, before I flipped them? I don't want them to stick on me. I want to cook them without having them stick to this wire rack. And I can always let them brown more after I flip them, or I could flip them another turn. But these are cooking and they're doing what I want them to do. If you like your bacon crispier, by all means, you go right ahead and leave them in for 3 to 5 minutes more. But that's going to work for me. And I'm going to go ahead and get these back into the oven. Just want to make sure I'm giving them enough room and not overlapping anywhere. All right, we'll be back to show you what they look like after 15 to 20 minutes back in that same oven of 350 degrees. If you like, at this point in time, you could sprinkle some more. If you have any left over, if you want them really candied. Or if you have any areas that you don't see, like those fatty areas on the ends that look like they need some more, you can by all means add more. Or you could just add black pepper. If you don't have any mix left, you could just put some black pepper on there, and that would be wonderful too. All right, I'm going to get these back into the oven. I want to show you what these are looking like. They're almost done. Look how beautiful. All right, after 10 minutes, I decided these look crisp enough for me. You don't want to burn the sugars, and you don't want to burn the sugars even underneath because that flavor will get into your bacon. So we want to let these sit no longer than 5 minutes on this tray. And why do I say that? Because we don't want them to stick. See how they're kind of a little bit gooey? 5 minutes. And then what we're going to do is we're going to move them at that point in time. They will harden more as they sit, so don't worry about that. Right now, they're still a little bit like meldable. See how I can bend them a little bit? But all I want to do is just release some of those sugars off the rack. And then we'll move them onto a plate that's lined in wax paper. Parchment would work too. In just a couple of minutes, we'll take them off. But the important thing is we don't want them to stick.